Good morning. Beautiful sunny day. Just up Eos, Sweden. We're here for a 6-day test of the amazing Hallberg Rassy 69. Currently doing 10 knots in 16 knots true. Yeah, life's good. Yeah. So Hallberg Rassy has been around for 82 years. They've built over 9,750 boats in that time across, wait a minute, 45 designs. This, I guess being the 45th, is certainly the biggest, and Magnus would definitely tell you the greatest of them all. So we've got this integrated bow roller, which has an ultra anchor hanging off the bottom of it, so you never get any mud on deck or anything like that. There's also a Reckman furler for the code 0, and this is a Saloon underdeck furler for the 110%, I think it is, Genoa. And under here is the windlass. You've got your up and down there, and 100 meters of chain. Huge sail locker here. It is flat, doesn't really follow the curve of the deck, which is minor bugbear. It's only people like me that mind. Here's your sail locker. Handy steps to get you down here. So tons of space for your off-wind sails, your Jenica if you wanted one, or your code 0, I guess you keep it here. So you've got the hydraulic windlass here. Down here you've got hydraulics for both furlers, the code 0 and the Genoa or jib or whatever. And then under here you've got a retractable bow thruster and all the associated hydraulics with that. So you've got this this is polyurethane teak. It's sort of teak look, which I think is a great idea. It looks fine, grip's good. Great toe rails here on this laminated hull deck joint with these bolted through, very safe. These flush Lumar hatches. One of the design goals with this shot was to keep everything flush forward of the mast. And it does create this kind of wonderful play area for days at anchor, not days like today. 2 water tank inlets there, that's the waste outlet, and there's 3 diesel inlets there. The mast. Now, the reason this boat exists is because Selden could make a mast section this big, and furling mast this big, otherwise the 64 was as far as they could go. This has enabled it. This is full carbon, the standard is aluminium. This is full carbon, and it just means the boat goes faster, it pitches less, it heels less. It's just the better all round. More expensive, of course. You've got these jammers here. On the other side you've got 2 hydraulic pistons that tighten the main and the jib halyards. You've got a Lumar 65 here, again hydraulic, and that works with all these. So there's a topping lift, code 0, Spinnaker 1, Genoa 1. And you've got these cars, adjustable from the cockpit, infinitely adjustable. So you've got these solar panels permanently fitted here. There's more after the cockpit. It's free power, why wouldn't you? Lovely handrails here to get you back to this one, which is in this toughened glass. which is really cool. This used to be a hardtop, by the way. The hardtop is an option. You'll have seen an earlier test that it did have a hardtop. It's been taken off, and now you've got this screen with the opening windscreen at the front, which is kind of a thing, so it's very good for ventilation in the evening when it starts to get dark. Open that, you get a through breeze. Soft up here, that folds up and kind of elegantly scoots around the top of the screen. It's a very tidy job when it's rolled up. But like I say, the hardtop is an option, and room for more solar panels if you want it. So moving aft of the cockpit, another handhold here, see safely onto the aft deck. More solar panels. It's free space, use it. Flush hatches again. I've also got this one here. I first saw these on the Juno like 15 years ago, and they let in so much light. Just the idea of having a hatch that's not, you know, flat on deck. These really work. There's a lock here that's really good for fenders because it's got this bar. You can just tie all the fender lines to. Shore power here. They got them either side, and they're both 50 hertz and 60 hertz. So you've got Europe, rest of the world, and the US covered. There's a hydraulic up and down for your swim platform, and in here is the tender garage. Let there be light. I use this to get down. It's actually the swim platform. It plugs into the swim platform over there. 3.4 meter tender, which has a sort of ingenious boarding method. You can just see these rails here. So you kind of haul it up onto the swim platform. Then there's like a turntable thing, which kind of slides it athwart ships, and in it comes. Nice. Here are your quadrants. You've got two twin rudders. That is your emergency steering. So that fits on the top of the stock. You rig up the block and tackle, and that's your emergency steering. Or there's another method which is much quicker and less work. Because each of these is fitted with its own autopilot. So if for whatever reason the steering breaks, turn the autopilot on, you've got control again. You've also got a spare four-blade fixed propeller if your gory goes wrong for whatever reason. So, sorry if this is all a bit rushed, but it's been raining all day. It's 2:30 and it'll be dark in an hour, so we've kind of had to push things on a little bit. Cockpit with these amazing twin helm stations. You've got a hydraulic Lumar 80 out there. There's a Lumar 65 here for the main sheet. You've got the 80 for the Genoa and the Code Zero. There's no secondaries on these. There are hydraulics in place for them, but there's no secondary winches yet. So engine controls, the throttle, you've got Raymarine chart plotter. There's your bow and stern thruster controls. There's a horn, which I won't press. There's your autopilot controls, and there's the windlass, so up and down, and there's a road canter, so you know how much chain you've got out. Got winches here, so primary high, primary low. That's for the port side, primary high, primary low for starboard. Secondary, they don't have any secondary winches at the minute, so that's kind of redundant. And there's a main sheet winch there. That's the one, that's the Lumar 65 back there. There's another Lumar 65 at the mast that handles all the other halyards. So you've got main in, main out, which works with boom in, boom out, kind of hauling the main as it unfurls and then doing the reverse. Code Zero in, Code Zero out, that's for the Code Zero. Likewise the Genoa, yeah, it's just furling in, furling out. Another big chart plotter here. And here you've got sort of load sensors here, because this is the hydraulic bit of it. So you've got vang release, vang pull, so that's on and off. Backstay release, backstay pull, main release, main pull, and Genoa release, Genoa pull. And those are for the two pistons at the mast. So that's all your, you know, kind of heavyweight hydraulic sail controls taken care of. Two big wheels, you've got these little flip up things if you want to stay more comfortable. There's a fridge here. There are strong points, by the way, if you need to put your jackstay on for any reason, tether rather. There's a little deck shower here if you need it. twin tables, so you can brace when you're sat down, put your feet on them, but you can also get through, because one massive table just wouldn't work in this environment. So little cockpit locker there for your ropes and your winch handles and so on, fire extinguisher. So we're sheltered under the spray hood. It's a wonderful place to be. Peace and calm restored. So 5 instrument repeaters above the hatch to keep the helmsman clued in to what's going on. Another, I guess it's a chart plotter over there, a big repeater screen from the ones at the helm. These big swathes, you know, you keep a conventional chart there if you want, or I don't know, anything like a big book. The other sweet little touch, oh, I love this, I love doing this. Washboard on a gas strut. For some reason that makes me so happy. So this is undeniably a feature of this space, this very grand staircase, the sort of thing you expect the Von Trapps to come down. Teak steps, and this, it's the width it is, it's the statement it is, because it's the same width as the engine space. Behind it you've got the engine and generator, and you can take these 2 steps out to get access to the front of the engine, but we'll look at that later when we get into the engine room. European oak interior, these bits are fascinating. They're all kind of laminated layers and layers and layers. They're kind of glued together and then shaped into these wonderful. This also solid oak, just joined here. Big table here. Again, high wear areas. So everything is varnished 8 times. And then for high wear areas like this and this, they do an extra 2, so there's 10 times. Good sized table, European oak again. Pops up here. So you've got dining for, let's say, 2, 4, maybe 6 or 7. You could put a chair here, maybe. There's a bottle locker in there, and on top, a trivet for your hot pans. There is, I mean, there are berths for 8, but should somebody want a pilot berth, you can put one here. There are attachments for lee cloths up there and here, and you can get lee cloth supplied. This is where you get the best views, sat right here, these huge windows. They're about 175, I think, 1.75 m from end to end. And they are perfectly heighted, at the perfect height to look out. These, however, are not quite. They let in tons of natural light, but they don't supply a view necessarily. Models after this one, this is obviously hull number 1, and they've tried lots of different ideas. Subsequent hulls are going to have the floor raised by 2.5 centimetres, which may give you a bit more of a vista, as it were. Got those port lights forward, 2 of which open. That's another Hallberg Rassy thing. You'll see it in the cockpit as well. The front of the windscreen opens so that you can get a draft in when you're at anchor in the tropics. Okay, it's not, well, it's 4 o'clock. It may look like 10 o'clock in the evening, but it's actually 4 o'clock. I may look a bit shady, but there's light everywhere I need it. The light is good for the work surfaces and all that kind of thing. So it's the galley, very seaman-like. You know, you're not going anywhere. It's cosy, I'd say, for a boat of 70 feet, but I think 2 people could work here just about, as long as they knew each other quite well. So, again, you've got these gorgeous, it's the laminated European oak just milled out for handholds and then shaped by steam. Corian tops. This is a GNSPAS frame with a Miele induction hob and a Miele oven that does fan, slow cooker, grill, microwave, and then combinations thereof. And the fiddles are over here, in case anyone's curious. So the stowage all the way out board, though it would need a bit of organising, I think, maybe some trays, because it's quite deep. Spice rack out here, extractor fan there. There are, I've lost track of the number of fridges, I think it's 6. There's a big one here, top loading. There's a locker out here for extraneous bits. I've got a toaster at the minute and a greater fire blanket. Fridge out here. So there's another one there. This one is dedicated as a freezer at the moment, but I think, you know, if you're going anywhere, if you were spending months at sea, you'd probably want more refrigeration. Then behind me is a double drawer fridge. Here's your slimline dishwasher, which has just done its thing. Stowage, like I say, it's kind of, so that's mostly chopping boards and the odd frying pan and so on. Some more pot stowage there. Drawers for various bits and pieces. These handles are a bit fiddly, so if you've got, I don't know, wet fingers or greasy fingers or something, they're difficult to kind of, there's quite a hard self-close on them, so you do. Anyway, they're being changed, they're turning into those push stud ones in future. And like all the others, cutlery drawer, soft close. Chopping board. And down here, if it was my boat, I think this is where I might put the freezer, like a big freezer. At the moment it's stowage, so you've got some boxes there to arrange things. Potatoes. There's another locker out here, which is for your mugs and cups and glasses and so on. Lovely little shelf here, fiddle of course, for your washing up liquid and so on, the plug. And that's plastic with like drains cut in it, so it just drips down onto here. So we've got double sinks here, one larger, one smaller, both really quite deep. You notice some notches here that match with these tops. So if you want one sink cover off to do your washing up or whatever, the other one's not sliding around because it's got these notches here that keep it in place. Tap, trick tap, cold water, hot water, boiling water. Cooker. Stowage under here. So you got your bin and all your various cleaning bits and pieces. What else have we got? So there's ventilation here. More ventilation out here. This here is not a salt water pump for, to maintain your freshwater supplies. And the reason it isn't is because of this, which is a spectral water maker. What this is, allows you to taste. So you turn it on. This is a mad water maker. It's 454 litres an hour, and the whole boat is about 1,800 litres, I think. So you can refill the entire boat in 4 hours. Anyway, you turn it on. When it's ready to go, you can taste. So you hit taste, and water comes out of here. If you're happy with it, switch it over, and it starts filling the tanks. That's what that's for. So this is what is referred to in the brochure, bewilderingly, as a work table. So it's definitely not a nav station, that's not why we're here. Looks a lot like one though, reminds me of one. Huge, obviously, again, these milled fiddles, very good handholds. And in front of me I've got a Raymarine Axiom for your various nav stuff. And there's also an autopilot ahead, so you could steer from here. And on board of the Raymarine Axiom, you've got USB A and C sockets and 230 volts AC. Under here, we've got all sorts of paraphernalia. There's no charts per se, but there are loads of pilot guides there. Out here is a sort of control panel, so you've got your C zone, which covers, this is, Magnus said it was very much kind of back end, so this covers every system on the boat, whereas there's one over there which is kind of more user focused. Stereo there, Fusion stereo. Dock mate here, which is kind of a push button joystick thing which does your parking for you. This boat's got a bow thruster and a stern thruster. And this is master vault. This tells you how your inverters are doing and lots of other really useful stuff. Got a bookshelf down here, big bookshelf, which would be a bit of a faff to pick out the book you actually want. Nope. It looks like boot stowage at the moment under there. Under here we've got more stowage, including, this is Magnus's boat, so these are his shoes. Magnus keeps his tools here, his kind of everyday tools. There are specific ones in the engine room, which I'll show you later. But this is where he keeps his everyday bits and pieces. Outboard, drawers for just detritus and really important things. Treasures from cruises gone by. So well, let's call that the dining area. That's, you know, the evening meal, that sort of thing. That all happens there. This, again, it's the option. Loves his armchairs, Magnus. Otherwise it could be a sofa, could be a settee. He's opted for his armchairs, which makes it very much an evening space for me. It's somewhere you kind of relax, and you've got your special glasses in here, and your whiskey tumblers are back there. Got drawers here for your knickknacks and remotes and stuff. There's a bottle locker out here. More practically, the stowage behind each seat. Well, there's stowage under this one. That's in fact an air conditioning outlet. The big ones are air conditioning outlets. Locker back here for general stuff. It's beautiful. Obviously it's not here if you choose a settee option, but with the armchairs, you get these beautiful Hallberg Rassy wine glasses, which we were thinking we might redesign so you can keep this beautiful glass window but have the thing open on the top, because at the moment you've got the wine glasses there but there's tons of space empty. And you have to keep your whiskey tumblers up there. If you make it top opening, you can use all that space and get everything in. So it'd be a lovely place to sit in the evenings and maybe put your feet up. Comme ça. And then maybe watch a bit of Netflix. So the whole concept of Hallberg Rassy in general, and this boat also fits into it, is it's meant to be sailed by two people, it's meant to be sailed by a couple. All the push-button sailing stuff, it makes that possible, the dock mate, etc. They have friends, and so while this is where they sort of congregate, this is where they eat, this is where they chill, this is where they cook dinner, the owners are back there, that's the owner's cabin. Then you've got this space between them, and this is all the guest accommodation. 3 cabins, 2 berths in each. Magnus Rassy doesn't like steps. Who knew? Certainly not Herman Freres, who took some persuading when Magnus said he wanted the 69 to be step-free from stem to stern. Yeah, Freyrs took some persuading, but Magnus is a persuasive guy. And he's done it, step-free, from forward cabin to aft cabin. And I wondered how it achieved it when I felt myself drawn to my cabin in the evening. I thought it was the emotional pull of a warm bed. But it turns out it was actually gravity. This whole step-free idea has been achieved with a little trompe-l'oeil. There's a slope. It's about, in this passage, it's about 10 centimetres from there to there. That's been done to accommodate, there's also a change in roof line, but that's how he's kind of managed to get this whole thing on one level without just keeping steps out of the way. Very clever. Also reveals these two panels here. This one is the watermaker intake and various outputs from the heads and various, foredeck hatches and so on. And this one is the Lumar hydraulic power unit. So this is the starboard cabin. It's got a hull port and an opening hatch, both with blackout blinds. Headroom is 6'3", 1 m91. The berth is 6'7" long, or 2 meters, and 4'3" wide, or 1 m30. First thing to note, you see this door frame is a lot wider than all the others, and that's because this is a structural bulkhead, so it's veneer on foam core, and you'll see that in the factory tour imminently. The lighting's really good, so you've got this overhead light here, you've got the bedside reading lights, lighting under there, and then there's floor lighting for, just so you're not waking everyone up at night. Very nice, and they're all run by these 3 switches. Got a hanging locker here, good drop from there to there. Also got the main truss rod for the mast. Air conditioning there, vents and all that. You see this headboard, you see a lot of this coming in now where they really kind of exaggerate. It helps with noise insulation, and it just, adds a different element to the design, so it's not just a swathe of wood. There's the double berth, there's more stowage out there, there's a locker there, and under here you've got a water tank over 300 litres, can't remember the exact number, and over here you've got the 3 cylinders for the Spectra water maker. So just consulted my trusty notebook. That water tank is 310 litres. The one under here is 360 litres. And under the saloon there are 2 498 litre tanks. It's a lot of water. So it's the port bunk cabin. So the starboard cabin is bang on the centre line. This one's slightly offset to port. Headroom is 6'2", or 187. And the top berth is 6'9", or 2 meters 5. By 2'7", which is 79 centimetres. And the bottom berth is 6'8", or 2 meters and 3, and 3 foot, bang on the money, so 92 centimetres. Great for kids, or grandkids, whatever. There's a hanging locker, your aircon of course. Top berth there and bottom berth here, both has its own locker and fiddled shelves outside. There's also a hull port, but it's kind of next to the edge of this berth, which I guess means it's shared by both, but it's also kind of wiped out by the top bunk. Opening hatch, of course. So the one over there's got a slightly smaller tank, 310 litres, because of the water maker, which takes up a fair bit of space. Under here, you got the 360 litre tank. So the starboard double and the port bunk berth, they both share this heads. So yeah, this is the heads the 2 guest cabins share. Opening hatch here for ventilation. Locker at board, the stowage, some more in a bin locker there. Sink here, guest sink, corrie on top. Grower taps. More stowage here, there's your heater outlet. Electric loo, fresh water, so it's fresh as a daisy all the time. That's your towel rail, which is heated. You can turn it on or off. And then in here is your shower cubicle, great headroom, hand shower. Controls are there, and you've got this, somewhere to put your shampoo. Now it is reasonably snug. But then it's not the kind of place you're going to spend a lot of time anyway. So in the heads bit, you've got a headroom of 6'6" or 198, 1 meter 98. And in the shower, you've got 6'8" or 2 meters and 3. And this is the VIP suite, forward, the VIP guest suite. And it's been my home for the last 5 nights. Headroom of 6'4" or 1 meter 93. The berth is 2 meters or 6'7" by 1 meter 42 or 4'8". Plenty of stowage. So we've got stowage all round there. Good fiddles, ventilated of course above, like everything else. Got 2 opening hatches here, 2 big hatches which I've been using to ventilate the place. Blackout blinds of course. And also these hold ports either side also with blackout blinds, which are very effective, I don't mind telling you. There are bin lockers out here. Another one there, they're not desperately deep. Another one here. There's a vanity table here. Stool, it's where I do my makeup. And then there's a deeper locker here. Quite good for stuff. Now, this is where I've been plugging my phone in. These lamps have a USB port in the bottom, but I think they're doing away with those and they're just going to put USB ports in. I know Magnus isn't a big fan of them, but you kind of need them. Again, got this headboard, which sort of deadens the sound a bit, and it's, I don't know, it feels comfortable, feels nice. It gives it a different vibe. So more storage up there, storage up here. More here, and here, the same lockers they had over there. And here's the hanging locker. It's got my shirts and everything graham through in there. It's also got the climate control stuff. So I've got this room set at 16 degrees and its actual temperature is 22.9, and I'll show you why. Here is not stowage. Here is a fuse panel. And there's a fuse panel there because there are 3 inverters working very hard to charge 10 6 kilowatt hour lithium ion batteries under the berth. And all that kit chucks out a fair bit of heat. So this is the forward guest ensuite. There's 6'6" headroom or 1 meter 98, and in the shower there's 6'9" or 2 meters and 6. So there's a mirrored locker in here, shelf storage again. There's another sink, beautiful Corin top, mixer tap there, my wash bag. Under here there's a heater outlet. There's storage for blue roll. There's no holder, but there it is. Again, electric flushing loo, fresh water, the controls there, holding tanks back here. And there's the electric towel warmer, off, on. And the shower. Again, it's kind of fairly compact. But it does have somewhere to put your shower gel. The tap works fine. Here, hidden behind all this, is your control panel. So this is a sort of CAN bus, the kind of Maratron it actually is behind there, but it's all your controls. So that's everything, navigation systems, lights, interior light systems, all your tanks and the various levels, everything you need to know. And behind here, more controls. So this is air conditioning, that's your heater. So the controls are set for 21 in here, and it's actually 20.5. Lumar, there's your hydraulics, and these are all your main switches, fans, bilge pumps, grey water pumps, a couple of emergency switches and fresh water pump. So you control everything from this panel, everything major from this panel. And there's the day ahead, very handily situated close to the steps, with what's full of bags at the minute, but would make a useful wet locker. Got an opening hatch there for a bit of ventilation, again with the blackout screen. 6'10" headroom, 2 meters 10. There's a mirror out here, sink with the mixer tap. There's a locker outboard, mirrored locker with fiddled shelves, and then a bit more stowage there. Loo roll again, no holder, but you know, safe. Electric controls for the loo, and that's your day head. More technical stuff. This is technical alley. So you get your 12 volt fuses over here, and 24 volts DC on this side. Again with ledgers to tell you what everything is and what it does. Very handy when they start pinging. So 12 and 24 there, 230 here. Again with all the descriptions of what everything is, so you know what's gone wrong. So on the other side of technical alley is a locker for your oilies. And here you wash the dryer. So this is the splendour of the aft cabin, the owner's suite of this Hallberg Rassy 69. We have 2 meters headroom, or 6'6", and the berth is 5'8" by 1 meter 93 wide, and 6'7", or 2 meters long. The mattress is fully a foot thick. So there's your pocket sprung element, there's your memory foam element, and there's the mattress topper. Princess and Pea territory, vast. Underneath here, you've got your 2 75-litre calorifiers for your hot water. Those are buzzing full time. And under this side, you have your retractable stern thruster. So when you think of the storage in the guest suites, you're there for a week, maybe 2 weeks. This is storage. It's a walk-in wardrobe, or closet, as they say. Tons of room for shirts and drawers, and there's all sorts. You know, you could keep, well, months of clothes in there. And when they're dirty, you can wash them. There's stowage under here, under there. More stowage out here, up there. Here, there's another wardrobe. Drawers, lockers. It's everywhere. It's everywhere you look. So we got battery switches there for the generator and engine start batteries, which are under the passage, and there's various other switches and knobs for other bits and pieces, all carefully listed on the ledger. More storage there. This panel does come out, and this lets you access the back of the generator. There's your climate control for this cabin. Your huge TV. Got attachments for lee cloths here as well, either side. Not one in the middle, but both sides you've got lee cloth attachments. Work table, another work table, which I always think of as like a vanity desk sort of thing. Stowage out there. More stowage here. There's stowage everywhere. We've got opening ports either side, again with your blackout blinds. Hull ports, again with blackout blinds. And this beautiful ash to kind of, you know, set off the scene. Very effective. There's another huge opening port here, which is technically the exit in CE terms. Air conditioning vents. Again, this lovely fabric headboard, which does a lot to deaden the sound. And then this fabulous window here, which later in the day or at the start of the day, the light through there is an absolute joy. It's glorious, really soft. Right, through here, the owner's heads, the owner's ensuite. 6'7" headroom or 2 meters. Got 3 mirrored lockers outboard, shelf stowage, fiddle stowage rather. Another bin locker outboard, also with a fiddle. Sink in this Corian worktop with a mix of tap. More fiddle stowage out here. There's your loo roll. There's never a holder. And there's the loo with the electric flush and the holding tank switch. Here's the shower. I guess it's a bit more spacious. So we've got this fancy rain shower overhead. There's a hand shower there. That's how you choose which one you get. There's a cupboard outboard for all sorts of stowage. I've seen arrangements where this is the washing machine. This is where you wash your clothes. This is just shelves. Keep your towels dry and warm by turning on your towel dryer. So we've seen the accommodation, we've seen all the comforts and delights the modern technology can offer. There's the air conditioning, there's the heating, there's the electric induction, there's the hydraulics, the 230 volts, the 24 volts, the 12 volts. It all comes from somewhere. This is where it comes from. This is the engine room. This is the nerve centre for nerds. This is where all the tech's at. So you see a 17.5, I think it is, Onan generator here. You've got your 300 horsepower Volvo Penta there, and all the associated kit, everything. There's the engine exhaust. We've got inlets. So to limit the number of through holes, they do things like this, which are called, Magnus called them rockets. We'd probably call them palm trees or something. But this is a through hole that goes down. This comes up to above water level, and you just have all sorts of different things that no longer have their own through hole because they all activate through this one. Another one there. All sorts of systems here. So there's systems for draining all 5 fuel tanks. There's 2 fuel filters. You've got pumps to drain with oil and fuel. So you've got 2 fuel filters here, and you can switch between them without having to turn the engine off. Just keep running and switch over. You'll also see, remember those 2 steps at the bottom of the staircase, the companionway I mentioned? Those come out to reveal that panel, so you can access the front of the engine. Great engine access. We've got a toolkit there. Goes without saying, full standing headroom. Yeah, I mean, I can't begin to talk to you through all the systems. I know the heater is back there, the Cabola heater system. Yeah, I mean, there's the aircon, there's some hydraulics back there. I don't know. An engineer would love this. So that was Gorseur, just south of Lysekil. And we're sailing at, what are we doing? We're doing 6.7, 6.5, 6.6 knots in about 10 knots of apparent, 12 knots of true. Just broad reaching, got the code sail out, main out, full main. Yeah. Just adding to the 11,450 miles this yacht's already done in the year it's been around, a year or so. What a day. There hasn't been sun here for ages apparently, so we're kind of blessed. So it's a beautiful morning. We're heading for Lysekil on the Hallberg Rassy 69. We've got the code 0 out, flying beautifully, effortless. Same with the full main. Days like this, I don't even feel cold. What a boat. It's hydraulic, the furling. But there is, of course, manual backup, and this is it. And I wondered, I was trying to see how a winch handle might work in this, because you keep getting the clutches in the way. They've thought of it, of course. So there's a big kind of spigot thing that comes out here so that you get a full rotation. They've also got an attachment for an electric drill, so you can just kind of do it that way. Why make life difficult? Okay, I can't see it on these numbers, but it's not by any means warm here. But you've got this windscreen here and the spray hood, and it's just a really chilled place to be. It's not quite being down below, but it's not far off. And this one used to have a hard top, which is kind of, so you'd have the windscreen, but it would come further back here with a hard top, and you could close off the back of it and actually sail from inside, if you like. A little heater outlet somewhere here, and you know, you might as well be down below. It's a really forgiving space. As soon as you flip the autopilot on, you can just come in here and gather yourself, and yeah, makes life very pleasant. So for anyone wondering, the white numbers are knots, that's boat speed and so on, speed through the water. And the orange numbers on the second from the right, those numbers are meters per second, which is how it's done up here. And if you want to know what that is in knots, just double it. So it's about 16, 17 at the minute is the average wind speed, true wind speed, 12, 13. That's how you work it out. So on a boat of this size, obviously the bracing's important. You've got these little ledges here, and the twin tables with the passage between them. They've also got bars on here, so yeah, you're not going anywhere. This is safe and warm. Got these here. Now they don't look big enough to me for a mug of tea or something, but I'm sure they're the perfect fit for a can, you know, 330 can. So I don't know, a can of tea, does that happen? And then this other one here. It's for an iPhone. That's why that's there. And this, by the way, if you're wondering, is the emergency stop for the hydraulics. If it goes haywire for whatever reason, bang that and it all stops. Handholds in all the right places. Got the moulded one here. I can scoot along. Got handholds here. Can hold on to this. And move out. It's easy. So we're going to go forward now. And I feel really comfortable doing it. I'm finding handholds in all the right places. I'm not exerting, not lunging for anything. Yeah. It's all been thought out. They've been doing this for a few years, Hallberg Rassy. It's like every Hallberg Rassy, it's built to be sailed simply, so it's push-button sailing. You know, the idea is that you still get the pleasure of sailing, you just don't have the hard work, you don't have the sweatiness, you don't have the discomfort of condensation and cold below. Everything is just as you would wish it to be in an ideal world. And that's kind of what the brand's all about, and this personifies it. So everything's push button, it's toasty as hell downstairs. If I was in the Caribbean, I would turn on the air conditioning. You've got the stereo, you can listen to the music you want, pop up the telly and listen to Netflix. Go to your room, which is climate controlled, and just, it's as he says, it's sailing, it's all the fun of sailing with none of the, at times, misery, let's be honest. Yeah, dead impressed. So we're in the Hallberg Rassy factory today with Magnus Rassy, and we're in front of the second hull of the Hallberg Rassy 69. Magnus, what stage is it at? When's it going to be sailing?
This is a very early stage. Now it's in 2025. This boat will sail in 2027.
Yeah. Okay. That spring?
Spring, early summer, yes. We always give a fixed delivery date and even the time of the day for delivery, so that's all set up.
Well, I did speak to you yesterday about the 370, and you said if you order today, you won't get it before the 23rd of March, 2027 at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Exactly.
The way this hull was manufactured, what's different to the way you manufacture the rest of the range?
On this size, the 69 has a vacuum-infused hull and deck. And the reason we only do it on the 69 is that I think that a good cruising boat has to be robust. And to get the robustness, you need a certain thickness of the hull, so you can turn into the dock without having a hole in the boat. And on a smaller boat, if you would vacuum infuse it, you would get a thinner laminate that is stiff enough for sailing on the water, but not good enough for hitting the dock. Here, everything is so much thicker that it's still thick enough to be very robust, even if it's vacuum infused. So here we do it.
Okay, so you have no plans to vacuum infuse any of the rest of the range because there's no need to?
Yes, except some parts, like on the 370, the swim platform and the rudders are vacuum infused. There it makes sense.
Okay, and that's to save weight or just to make it stronger? Or?
Yes, to save weight. And in those areas, the total strength is important, but not the punctual strength. The punctual strength is very important when it goes to the hull side.
Okay. Well, let's have a look on board.
Yeah, that's great.
Well, it looks a lot different at this stage of development.
It does.
What can we see here?
Yeah, we see the hull stiffener that goes below the sole boards and all the way up to the deck level, and also horizontal in this level, which stiffens up the boat quite a lot.
And again, these are all tube?
Yes, air inside, except here around the keel area, the mast area. The mast comes here, it's a keel step mast, and there is a steel beam that is cast into the hull stiffener. And we make the hull stiffener quite a bit lower than the final sole in the boat. That's because we want to create space for all the hosing, the wiring, the piping, without drilling holes in the structural hull stiffener. And we also see here the structural bulkheads are quite thick. That's because they have divinyl PVC foam core and vacuum laminate on top of that to make them really, really strong, because the forces are simply much bigger on a boat of this size.
And is it just for the chain plates, is it just a matter of scale, so they're still laminate on marine ply, is that right?
Yeah, the principle is the same, but everything is a lot larger and more powerful, and because there are more forces here.
And the tanks?
Yes.
So
Here
these
we
are...
see some of the tanks. that are shaped to get a maximum volume in the boat that is available.
So these, there are 6 here, so there are 5 diesel tanks.
Yeah.
And I think 4 water tanks? No, 5.
I think 5, yes.
5. So these could be, they're not color-coded or anything, it's just...
No. It's PU, so it's light and very strong and doesn't give any smell to the water, so it's really good.
So where is this the sole level on the boat?
No, when the boat is finished, it will be round about here. So it's quite a difference.
Is this also structural, these bulkheads?
Yes, all those thicker bulkheads are structural. It's just those lowered that are no structural bulkheads because of the height difference that replaces the reinforcement for the loads instead of the actual bulkhead. And that makes it possible to place the bulkheads much further apart. It's 2.70 meters between the bulkheads here, and that wouldn't be possible in the traditional way to build boats. Only when we have those stiffener going all the way up to the deck that is possible. And that means we can lower the bulkheads that are not structural, we can put them further apart, and we can drop the part that goes up to the deck because we have the support in another way here.
Okay. And what is that it's a material, it's not GRP, the material with dots on this bulkhead?
That's the foam core. In the structural bulkheads, there is foam core, dipping cell, closed cell foam, and then we have a vacuum laminate on each side, so it's really stiff, and then everything is laminated with an L-shaped laminate to the forward side, the aft side, to the hull side, to the deck side.
So like this?
Yeah, all around. So it's really.
And that's the same as this? This is also Divinicel, we can see here?
Yes, that's also a structural bulkhead. Yeah.
All your cable runs in there already.
Yeah.
Someone's bound to ask, it might as well be me, what's the green stuff?
It's simply filler to avoid that there will be pockets where water can be collected without flowing further to the deepest point of the bilge.
So it just goes to the lowest point already and just... Okay. Where are we?
This will be the big walk-in engine room. Yeah.
Okay, so what's where?
Well, you get the main engine here, a Volvo Penta D6 300, 6-cylinder with 300 horsepower, and you will get a generator, Cummins owner, of at least 17.5 kilowatts. And you can see also here on the edges of the plywood surrounding the engine room that we have a heavy part that is noise cancelling inside the plywood, plus the normal sound insulation.
So is that like a rubber or?
It's a kind of heavy rubber, I would say, yes.
Okay. And how is the vibration of the engine, how is that insulated from the rest of the hull?
In many ways. It's installed in a way that leads the vibrations less out to the boat, and you have this heavy part in the plywood, you have thick foam insulation, and you have a metal cover over that. And we also have a very special way to transmit the forces from the engine to the propeller that takes up the load. Because if you wouldn't have that, the load from the propeller would transmit into the rest of the boat, which gives a lot of noise. You don't have that here because you have a pressure bulkhead that take up the load from the propeller. That's a really important thing as well.
Ah, and where's that? Is that further?
It will be in the aft section. We cannot see it here.
And what's this?
That's the access hatch for installing the main engine and the generator. And it's a bolted floor, so if you want to access it, you can just remove the bolted floor.
So is the transom part of the deck mold?
Yeah, the transom and the deck is one mold. It's connected together. And the hull has a port side and a starboard side that are laminated and put together and laminated together before it leaves the mold. And the hull and the deck are also laminated together.
And then all the beams and the interior.
Yeah, correct. And structural bulkheads, also important.
So what changes have you noticed in Freya's designs over the years?
It develops all the time. Each design is a new design, and there is nothing like a copy-paste when developing a new design. Everything is really new, and we see that the boats get more contemporary, get wider in the transom. All this is good for everything. It's good for interior space, it's good for storage, it's good for seakeeping abilities, it's good for sailing performance, it's good for everything. So, yeah.
And that helps. I mean, I know writing moment is important to you, and so stability, hull stability, form stability is a part of that.
That's correct. When you have a wider water line, it helps to get form stability, so you can achieve the same or even higher righting movement with a lighter keel, and which is good for overall weight and overall performance of the boat.
Okay. And this has been another big change at Hallberg Rassy over the year, the twin rudders.
Yeah.
How does that work with this whole concept?
It works very well. At heel, you always have at least one rudder blade down into the water, so you always have good control when sailing. And the next thing is that the waterline shape is much more symmetric. It's symmetric no matter if the boat is heeling a lot or a little or not at all. In opposite to the older designs with more narrow transoms, which had much straighter waterline on the windward side and much more curvature to the leeward side. And it's easy to understand which one is more efficient. It's of course the one that is more symmetric through the water.
So previously you'd have had, well, we think of weather helm quite a lot, where we're trying to stop the boat from rounding up because it's very round on that side and flat on this side.
You don't have weather helm in the same way on the twin rudder boat like this. It's always well balanced and always easy to control.
Okay.
And the forces are less as well. The forces are less for you as a helmsman, and it's less for the autopilots, which is good in all senses.
So the Hallberg Rassy 69, here it is. So we took it out sailing. It was sort of 14 to 18 knots true in the archipelago just outside the port. With the jib up, about 40 apparent wind angle, apparent wind speed of sort of 15 to 20. We got 7.6 to 11.5 knots. Coming down was sort of 75 to 80 apparent wind angle, 14 to 16 apparent wind speed, 8.8 to 10 knots. Then we got the code 0 out, 85 to 90, 14 to 16 apparent wind speed, we got 9 to 10.4 knots. Back on the jib, 40 to 45 in 20 to 23 apparent wind speed, which is about 15 knots true. 8.5 to 9.5, 30 to 35 degrees for the apparent wind, which was 20 to 22 knots, 8.5 to 9.5. And then coming deeper, again with the code sail at 120 apparent wind angle, 8 knots of apparent wind speed, 5.7 to 6.4. And the tacking angle with the jib up, at least, was 100 degrees. So that's the tail of the tape, and it was always going to be fun because it's a big boat with a lot of power. It was going to be fast, it was going to feel great, and it did. The steering was lush, it was really nice, very well connected, felt really good at the wheel, and it had the power that I think you needed on a day like this. In terms of what we think, okay, so this is, a lot's expected of this brand. Graham and I used to work on a sail cruising magazine, and you knew if you put a Hallberg Rassy on the front, it was going to sell well, because it's got that, it's kind of a revered brand in sail cruising circles. Yeah, it just, everyone knows it's going to be good, because it's got the quality, it's got the reputation, it's like a gold standard kind of a thing. In terms of the 69, this is obviously as big as they've gone, and it's kind of technology that's enabled it in a way, not just the carbon mast that Saloon developed, and that's how Hallberg Rassy could build this boat. It's bigger than anything they've built before, but it doesn't feel, it's still got all the hallmarks of a Hallberg Rassy. You would, you know, if someone flashed a photo of this at you, you'd go, that's a Hallberg Rassy. It's because of the ventilation and these handrails and the finish on the wood and the satin varnish and this, that and the other. There's a million different signatures that are this brand. Bearing in mind, this is 5.24 million euros ex-VAT basic, but in this spec, which is loaded, 6.25 million ex-VAT. But this boat has everything. It's got the hydraulic winches, it's got air conditioning, it's got heating, so powered by a diesel heater that heats water that circulates around the boat, that keeps everything warm. And this is December in Sweden, and I'm here in a t-shirt. The armchairs are wonderful. This 58-inch TV that comes up is wonderful. The heated towel rails are wonderful. The electric flushing freshwater loos are wonderful. The cooker tap in the galley is wonderful. They're all things that, I guess if you're buying this boat, you're kind of used to. But for me and for Graham, it feels kind of a bit uncomfortable. We've been here, this is our 5th night on board, and we're just like beginning to feel like we might miss this when we go. Yeah, it's interesting. There are certain things that we're really happy with. So we love the galley. If we were to change anything, we'd have a bin. The bin on this is smaller than it is on the 370, which doesn't make any sense. So I'd have a bigger bin and have it under a cutout, so you haven't got to have a locker door open the whole time while you're chopping veg and getting rid of the tops and tails and so on. The storage is very deep, and there's no organisation there at the minute, so containers would be needed to kind of make the whole thing work better. But in general, love the galley. The sleeping accommodation, again, the showers, the heated towel rail and the flushing loo. I suppose the drawback with the one I was in, because it has the 10 batteries and the 3 inverters underneath, is quite toasty, which is fine in winter. In summer, maybe not so much, or in the Caribbean or whatever. And I don't know what you'd do about that. Probably turn up the aircon is what you'd do. But this space I love. It's for a kind of a couple who own the boat, and they would live back there in the owner's suite, which is lovely. And guests forward, VIP suite forward is where I've been. That's probably where their children might be, and their grandchildren would be in the bunk cabin. And certainly if I had this kind of money, I've got investments, stocks and shares and so on. So I'd want an office. I turn this one into an office. And this is the double. So that would be my customization. But this space, this is kind of the space between, so owners, guests, and this is where everyone gets together. And it doesn't feel overwhelming in any way. So here's your dining, there's your relaxing bit, there's the galley. This is where everyone gets together and mills around. And it's as a social space, it works very well. We've had 4 people down here, and it's absolutely fine. But I think the remarkable thing is that this is more money than I could probably ever earn. This is 6.25 million euros. And I don't feel intimidated. I'm not walking around on eggshells. I feel comfortable. Probably wouldn't on most yachts that cost this much. So that's an achievement, and I think that would be welcomed by anyone who could afford it, anyone who's looking for a kind of relaxed lifestyle on a boat. Things I didn't quite get on with, so I'm not entirely sure about. All the floorboards are screwed down. There are some access panels in some places, but the idea that I can't get at tanks quickly, or the bilge, or if I hit something I can't get at the hull size, that feels a bit uncomfortable. Maybe I'm worrying unnecessarily, but that's kind of how I've been raised in terms of sailing. You're meant, those things are important. You're meant to be able to access everything at once. The other thing is the level systems have got to now is such that I certainly get used to this level of luxury. I don't think that would be much of a challenge, but I've never been a boat owner. Graham certainly is, and he prided himself on being able to, whatever went wrong, that he knew how to fix it, and there was a spare there. And I don't think you could get to that stage with this boat. So it's meant to be owner operated, so the couple will sail it everywhere, but I don't think there's any way they could maintain it. It would need to be serviced for them by experts in the field in air conditioning, in heating, in hydraulics, in electronics, in blah, blah, blah. There's so many systems on this boat that they're inaccessible, but even if you could access them, what are you going to do? So I love the boat. I think it's a marvellous achievement, what they've done to, something of this value to make it feel this welcoming, this appealing, this, not intimidating at all, like I said. I think is a great achievement. It's huge fun to sail. It can go anywhere, and it's easy to sail as well. So if you were a couple, one of whom is much keener on sailing than the other, then this is the sort of boat that's so easy to sail and so comfortable to be on that it might persuade the partner to, yeah, okay, we'll cross the Atlantic and go to the Caribbean. Why not? Because it's not difficult. That's the whole ethos of this, the brand, and this boat in particular, is you get all the fun of sailing without the hard work. That's their motif. That's what the whole brand's about. And this is it in a nutshell. Yours for 6.25 million euros ex-VAT. So that's what we think. What do you think? Leave us a comment and don't forget to subscribe. Yachting Reviews on YouTube, and follow us on Instagram and Facebook, and you'll get more and more of this stuff. And frankly, who wouldn't want it?